Rakoi, or as the humans call it, Carrow, is a harsh world that made life a trial when it was a UNSC colony, and fear of the Covenant finally drove its people off the desert world. But when the Covenant fell, life came back to Rakoi, between refugees of a dead Sangheili world and human survivors who wished to reclaim their birthright. And after many years of tense peace, war came again, between two cousins for control of their people's future. A warlord who sought a hidden weapon of the gods, and the returned human inhabitants that refused to give up their home without a fight. This was the War for Rakoi. Years ago, at the twilight of the Covenant, the Sangheili Fleetmaster, Rajka Kesan, witnessed the destruction of his homeworld of Gleik. As his home burned to cinders, he and his cousin, Thar Sorav, gathered the survivors and fled to a desert world they would call their own. The humans had called it Carrow, but Rajka had christened it as Rakoi. The city-state of Rock was built along the hidden Asatech River, and Rajka reigned as the first Kaidan. It was named in honor of the human city of Soraka that had emptied years prior when the Covenant had attacked. To the surprise of the Sangheili, it wasn't long before the humans resettled their old colony, leading to a joint occupation of the planet. Rakoi soon became part of the joint occupation zone following the end of the Covenant War. Though he had mourned the Covenant, Rajka believed that in order for both races to survive on Rakoi, human and Sangheili alike must make a common cause and unite as one. To see this dream come to fruition, he began demilitarizing his forces to show the humans that he had no intentions for war. Despite this act of good faith, many humans still feared and hated him, calling him a thief, a squatter, an interloper. They weren't the only ones who despised him. Thar's, Rajka's own blood, stood in opposition with his ideals. He saw the humans as insects to be squashed, and gathered a great many like-minded Sangheili to his side. At first, they were little more than a nuisance. Then they began killing their own kin with human weapons in smaller settlements across Rakoi's vast deserts, hoping to blame the humans and push Rajka to war once more. It wasn't long until Thar's forces had grown to a fleet capable of challenging Rajka directly. To avoid war on Rakoi, the United Earth government sent an envoy in September of 2558 to broker a lasting peace between the two species. Despite what the Sorakans had thought of him, Rajka was still determined for peace and unity. Thars, however, spat at the idea and drew first blood. He sprung a trap that he had planned for some time, launching a surprise attack on Soraka and destroyed all their space-capable ships to cripple the humans and draw out his cousin in full force. Above the surface of Rakoi, the war that many feared and longed for finally came. While both factions were evenly matched, Rajka was more experienced in the ways of war, and his victory was all but assured. However, without warning, a Jiro Hanai fleet arrived in support of Thars, and the tide of battle quickly turned to his favor. As Rajka's fleet burned and boarding craft latched onto his ship, Thars' Jiro Hanai allies broke off from the battle and laid siege to Soraka. Thars planned to kill the Jiro Hanai once they slaughtered the humans, and once Rajka had been dealt with, he would be hailed as the planet's savior without suffering the retribution of the UEG. At the same time, the human envoy, Melanie Azikue, freed the three demons in containment on board Rajka's flagship. it was these demons who had truly destroyed Gleich in retributions for the many sins committed by the Covenant. The Envoy and the Demon Three then fled to Rakoi's surface, and in a thirst for vengeance, Rajka abandoned his battle with Thars in pursuit of the humans. Meanwhile, the Juro Hanai forces began leveling a large portion of Soraka with their ship, their Ungoi slaves, and their scarabs to uncover something beneath the city for their own sinister purposes. Upon hearing that Thars was following Rajka to the surface, their chieftain, Hekabe, contacted Thars to learn about the situation and hoping to prevent him from learning about their true intentions. Thars refused to comply, and as a result, Hekabe broke his pact with the renegade Sangheili. The Sorakan militia soon retaliated and led a counterattack against the brutes, but were utterly slaughtered by the brutish pack. Hekabe personally killing the son of the Sorakan governor before they resumed their excavation. In a last-ditch attempt to follow the Demon Three, Rajka followed a controlled crash of his ship on the outskirts of Rakoi's vast deserts. He and what remains of his forces were more than determined to see the demons pay for their sins on Gleich, and followed the humans to an abandoned Oni facility in the Carfu Mountains. Unfortunately, Thars followed suit. He seized control of the facility and personally interrogated the human envoy to find the location of Rajka and the demons. Back at Soraka, Hekabe's forces finally unearthed the great temple beneath the city. Here lied a secret that even the gods themselves kept from each other, an unstoppable army of Sharkwi. Monsters from a time when the gods warred with the parasite, using a strange helmet he uncovered during the Battle of the Ark. Hekabe merged it with his skull and became one with the Sharkwi. With this new force at his disposal, he had the power to fulfill his true plans, to conquer Rakoi and other systems for his dreams of a united Juro Hanai race. While arguing with Thars, the envoy revealed that her government knew of the Sharkwi threat, and that peace was necessary to stop them. Thars, blinded by his ego and his desire for power, refused to indulge her gesture. The gods smiled on the envoy, however, as she was saved by Rajka and they escaped Thars' clutches in a close firefight. Having overheard the conversation of the Sharkwi threat, Rajka aligned himself and what remains of his forces with the Sorakans and even the Demon Three, for he did not wish to see his adopted home ravaged by another war as Gleich was. Rajka then contacted Thars and tried to warn him of the threat Hekabe posed with the Sharkwi and to destroy his ships to prevent them from leaving Rakoi. Being the arrogant wretch that he was, Thars refused to listen to his cousin, and so Rajka set a trap by challenging him to single combat. With the Demon Three at his side, Rajka killed Thars' men and ordered the Craven to contact his remaining forces and destroy their ships, but the scum once again refused. Rajka then allowed Thars to witness footage of his ships being taken by Hekabe's new puppets before releasing Thars' head from his body. After the Sorakans created an EMP device from an old Nova Bomb to nullify Hekabe's helmet, the allied forces of Rakoi ventured deep into the Forerunner Temple to finally stop the chieftain. As they engaged Hekabe's merciless horde over a light bridge spanning a pit of molten lava, Rajka fended off numerous Sharkwi with the lethality of a Sangheili warrior, preparing to give his very life for Rakoi. Now with a clear opening, the Sorakans and the Demon Three fired the EMP device and finally disabled Hekabe's control over the Sharkwi. The human governor then ripped the helmet off Hekabe and finally killed him. To the shock of all present, she donned the device and recalled the Sharkui back to the temple, where she gave her own life to detonate the nuclear bomb, and wiped out the threat to both humans and Sangheili. And thus, the war for Rakoi came to an end. In the wake of the conflict, the demons were allowed to return to their military with a full pardon from the Arbiter, and true peace began to flourish on Rakoi. Meanwhile, Rajka returned to Rock, where he abdicated the title of Kaidan in favor of becoming an envoy to Soraka. Having spent a great deal of time with the human envoy, he learned that he could speak things into being just as she did. Words that can carry as much weight as any blade.